What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Concrete Edge right here on Deco-Crete TV. My name's Jeff, and on today's show, we're going to take a look at one of the trendiest pattern styles in stamped concrete right now and go over some tips for stamping wood plank patterns, so stay tuned and you're going to learn all about it. So nowadays, wood plank stamps are pretty common, or depending on where you live, they might even be the most popular pattern now in your area of the country. And it wasn't always like this, however. I mean, I can remember a time when there were only a few wood plank options out there and they all looked pretty similar. Now, I also remember the first time that I saw a stamp pattern that resembled an old, rustic, worn-out looking barn floor, and that was at the 2012 World of Concrete, and it was a handmade set of stamps that an artist had brought with him for one of the exhibit, and now this style of wood plank stamps is right up there in popularity with ashlar and stone patterns. Now, this particular set of stamps right here is the Rustic Barnwood pattern from Deco-Crete, and we launched these stamps right at the beginning of 2023, and they instantly became a top seller. Now, the planks are 16 inches wide by 8 feet long, and the texture was created from authentic floorboards that was from a barn that was built in the 1800s. Now, this set has 4 different boards that all have their own unique textures, so you can create the most random look possible. And the full set is going to include 8 of the long 8-foot stamps, as well as a 6.5 and a 4-footer that's nice for starting and finishing out rows. And you also get 2 texture skins with the set, one that's completely flat and one like this one right here that's got grout lines on it, so you can kind of use it like a floppy stamp. Now, each different board is color-coded for easy identification, and the nice thing about these 16-inch wide stamps is that you can actually work off of one row of them when you're out there stamping. But if you do have a really large job and you're going to need a lot more stamps just to get across the slab, I mean, you can always buy as many or as few as you want of your favorite board. So now on to some tips for stamping wood plank patterns, and most of the stamping tools that you're going to find out there for this style are going to be single board stamps that don't lock together in a specific way. Now, that means you do have some freedom to create your own custom pattern, but this also means that even the simple pattern that these stamps were designed for can get messed up if you don't have a good plan. So the first thing you need to do is decide which way you're going to run the boards, and I mean there's definitely no right or wrong to this, but you do need to discuss it with the end user beforehand. I mean, aside from what they were hoping for, if the slab is just really long, I mean, you might not even be able to stamp it that direction anyways, unless you just have a ton of these things to lay across there. Now, another thing to consider is if there's any vertical edges on the job that are going to need to be finished. I mean, these patterns are really popular for porches, and that means you're going to have to address that 4-inch lip at some point. Now, color hardener certainly makes this part a lot easier, but just remember, if you're going to run those boards the short direction on a really long porch, you are going to have a lot of end grain work ahead of you. Now, the next thing to do is just make sure that all your form work is nice and square. I mean, this is definitely important when anytime you're stamping concrete, but with a pattern like this, you're gonna notice it even more, even if it's just a little bit off. Now, if you have a situation where you just can't do anything about the shape of that slab and there's just no way of squaring it up, you could try running these on a 45-degree angle, and that just really hides how out of square the slab really is. And please check out our episode of Technique of the Week where we do a full rundown on stamping on 45s. Now, when it comes to laying them out, I mean, honestly, take some inspiration from the hardwood flooring installers. I mean, an easy way to look at this would be to lay these stamps down in the same way that a carpenter would lay out a hardwood floor or deck boards. And if you're unfamiliar with this, I mean, just look at your deck or your floor at home, or you could always look up some photos online. But the big thing is that you just need to make sure that you stagger the length of your starter board so you don't end up with any running seams. I mean, for example, you can start your first row with a full 8-foot piece, then start with the 6.5-footer on the next row, and the 4 on the next one after that, and so on. Eventually, you're going to be back to a full 8-footer, and you just keep repeating this all the way across the slab. If you do this correctly, it'll take 2 or 3 rows before the ends of those boards are going to meet back up again. Now, another thing about wood plank patterns are pay attention when texturing up against walls or any other touch-up for that matter. I mean, unlike most of the skins you've probably used in the past, this one here is directional. And I remember a wood plank job that we did quite a few years ago. I mean, it was a pretty decent sized area, and we brought some extra help in, and well, the guy that was texturing along the edges of the slab wasn't paying attention, or maybe he just didn't know any better. I'm not really sure, but either way, he ended up texturing the whole side of that slab the wrong direction. Now, we did notice it soon enough, and we still got it fixed up, but if no one had seen that, I mean, man, the ends of those boards would have had some funny looking grains. Now, you will need to spin the skin around every now and then to avoid a repeating pattern, but just make sure that you fold a spin it a full 180 degrees, not just a 90 like you would with most skins. Now, you could also use these stamps for a 16-inch wide wood grain border if you wanted to, and the skins come in really handy for texturing vertical concrete or concrete overlays. So all in all, the Rustic Barnwood pattern from Deco-Crete allows you to recreate a rustic barnwood floor on concrete porches, patios, basement floors, or pretty much any slab that you want to look like this. And these stamps will work great on fresh concrete as well as concrete overlays, and again, the texture skins come in really handy for vertical concrete. Well guys, that's pretty much it for this week's show. If you guys have any questions on these or any other Deco-Crete stamps, please leave us a comment, or even better yet, give us or your nearest Deco-Crete distributor a call. If you're not sure where your nearest one is, just go to deco-crete.com to find the distributor that's closest to you. I'd also like to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I mean, man, we just can't describe how much it means to us. All the support that you guys do by tuning in every week, always hitting like, subscribe, share, all that stuff just means a ton to us. And if you already subscribed, please don't forget about that little bell icon and leave your notifications turned on so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And it really does help our channel out. So from all of us here at Deco-Crete TV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.